All right, guys. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Hole in the Wall. We got a lot to talk about, and it's a very dangerous time. What I'm going to tell you is scary, and the possibility of it happening is going to be terrifying. But these are facts. This is what our government has said. This is what's going on in Russia. Enjoy life and don't stress about money. This is a time where you shouldn't stress about money because everyone's in the hole. It's not just you. That's my 2 cents. So let's get into it, guys. Woohoo, we got a lot. All right. On April 23rd, 2022, Russian deputy commander went on to publicly claim that their next target plans to invade Moldova. This country is on the southwest border of Ukraine, but eastern border of Romania. The sea that borders both of these countries is the Black Sea. On Thursday, the 14th of April, 2022, one of Russia's main warships sank due to an attack. This caused Putin to claim outrageous statements that the guided missile cruiser carried precious cargo. He made such claims as that the wood of Jesus Christ's crucifix was aboard the ship. Because of Putin's future planned invasion for Moldova, this major hit ruined his chances to succeed. After this event, Putin became more aggressive with his threats. So it came out recently, almost a week ago, maybe like 4 or 5 days ago, that Russia was planning to attack Moldova. And it's a small country, and it's bordered by a NATO nation and a non-NATO nation. And so it also has Russian breakaway individuals, so that support Russia. And it used to be part of the USSR back in the day before the Cold War, and they broke away. So this is a very important thing to Putin because Ukraine was in the same boat as Moldova. And since they aren't part of NATO, they don't have that protection. And he's really wanting to go back to the time before the Cold War and the USSR and a strong Russian republic. So he's becoming more and more aggressive, and he's planning to attack, but now that he had one of his strongest military cruisers completely demolished, he's kind of scrambling and trying to figure out what to do next. So today, as of the 26th of April 2022, U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin held a press briefing. Austin met Ukrainian President Sunday. He stated that Germany, Britain, and Canada will be sending more military aid. Austin announced that General Walters, quote, encouraged self-defense general and other countries to continue their work with Ukrainian aid. This had created, quote, the monthly contact group, unquote, on Ukrainian self-defense. This group will discuss and create a way to build Ukrainian military aid for the long haul. Moldova is stepping up its security measures after a series of explosions in the eastern region of Transnistria. I cannot pronounce that. Do you think there is a risk of conflict spilling over to Moldova? We're still looking to the cause of that is still doing blank there. Not really sure what that's all about, but that's something we'll stay focused on. We don't want to see any spillover, and again, it's important to make sure that we do everything that we can to ensure that Ukraine is successful. That's the best way to address that. The Russian foreign minister has warned that a danger of World War III as real danger of nuclear weapons being used in the present situation. Are you not afraid that the conflict will somehow spin out of control and will have this nuclear confrontation? Again, I think that any bluster of the use of nuclear possibility. I'm having a fucking day. This is so terrifying. can't even make this video without being anxious. I gotta get through it. Austin. Well, we certainly will do everything within our power, and within Ukraine will have the same approach. Do everything within their power to make sure it doesn't spin out of control. International communities focus on that as well. Again, I think that any bluster of the use of nuclear possibility, the use of nuclear weapons, is very dangerous and unhelpful. Nobody wants to see a nuclear war. Nobody can win it. As we do things and as we take action, we're always mindful of making sure that we have the right balance and we're taking the right approach. So there's always a possibility that a number of things that can happen. But again, I think it's unhelpful and dangerous to rattle saber and speculate about the use of nuclear weapons. Thanks. He says it's a speculation that Russia will use nuclear weapons. How idiotic can one government be? The briefing was less than 13 minutes long. Austin took a total of 3 questions and then took his leave. He said multiple times that the use of nuclear weapons was a speculation, even though Russia continues to say he will use nukes. This is not a speculation, but facts. In Russia, there have been attacks to an oil depot, a military base, a meat processing plant, one agro complex, so agriculture, a air base, police stations, and several other organizations. These actions all happened within the last 36 hours. In the United States, there have been several reports of sabotages in infrastructures, all of which are food supply warehouses. Here's the list. Since October 2021, there have been 18 warehouses destroyed. Remember that, 18 since October. You have Idaho, San Antonio, Texas, JBS beef plant, Mississippi, Mountain Poultry, Louisiana, El Paso, Texas, Oregon, Wisconsin River Meats, Food Pantry in Arizona, Arkansas, Walmart Center, Maine, Sherbrooke, Canada, Kansas, fertilizer plant, and California. Union Pacific Railroad is shutting down transportation of grain and fertilizer. CF Industries announced that, quote, not only will fertilizer be delayed by these shipping restrictions, but additional fertilizer needed to complete spring applications may be unable to reach farmers at all. By placing this restriction on just a handful of shippers, Union Pacific is jeopardizing farmers' harvest and increasing the cost of food for consumers. The same announcement revealed that 30 companies, just in the US, not other countries, just US, 30 companies are facing similar restrictions. Union Pacific claims it's overwhelmed with demands and cannot handle it. So they're buying more locomotives, vehicles, to process that will take years to complete, if ever. So they're trying to get more big trucks, delivery trucks, and anything necessary to send these fertilizers to the farmers, but the demand is so high, and the problem is there's not enough trucks to buy for them because they're not making enough money currently, and there's no material in this country because we get all of it from China. There's no material in this country at all to make these big trucks that they need to transport the fertilizer. So it's a vicious cycle. Everything about this is just horrendous and it sucks. Experts have stated and warns that within 4 months, grocery stores will be empty and will not be able to be restocked. If we are lucky, they said we could see it last up to 6 months. Take into consideration too, there is no water in this country. We are in a drought. no matter where you go. U.S. Secretary of State Blinken stated, "We will support them, Ukraine, as long as it takes to succeed." U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan warned that within the past 22 hours, that it is the goal of the U.S. to pursue a weakened and isolated Russia, as this change in stance marks a hardened military position against Moscow. He stated that the U.S. will continue to send critical aid and additional resources to Russian oppositions and the country's military, no matter the threats that Russia gives America and the West. Let that sink in. At the end of the day, what we want to see is a weakened and isolated Russia and a stronger, more unified, more determined West. We believe that all these objectives are in sight. They can be accomplished, and we will do what it takes to support that area and effort to help bring these objectives about. Reports say that Russia has destroyed railways that transport weapons into Ukraine, which Putin promised that over a week ago. He told Biden if he continues to send aid, he will destroy any transport of weapons and military aid, and he will target it specifically. And he kept to that promise. 6 reported railways were destroyed as of this moment. This was a statement by Russian Military of Defense. So take that for what it's worth. Whether you believe in it or not, we didn't learn from the history books at all. The school system failed us here in America. We didn't learn from it. So we're doomed to repeat it. We are at war, and you need to understand that. Just because bombs have not dropped, and just because Russian boots are not on American soil, does not mean we are not at war. You must teach your children to survive through this. If not, the human race will not continue.